I'm driving home and find myself stuck at an intersection that I despise because it's often swarming with homeless people who are holding up signs begging for money. Of the 4 corners available, I've seen up to 3 separate groups of homeless folks divided by a busy street, all of which are promising some kind of integrity in exchange for cash. Need help, just want beer, stranded and need gas, and the well-worn will work for food. Yet no one seems to be sufficiently helped and has enough beer or leaves town with their gas or actually even works for anything. As far as making money goes, well, men with dogs do better than those without. Women do better than men. Women with children trump them all, unless, of course, a wheelchair is to be included into the mix. I can't help but notice how uncomfortable I feel by the watching. Seeing this poor, filthy individual sitting on the ground, my mind gravitates to thoughts of how uncomfortable they look and how uncomfortable I would be if I were in their situation. I'm not uncomfortable right now. My vehicle is quite comfortable, and, well, if I were hungry, I would simply go purchase enough food to fill my belly. I'm on the way to my own home, and they don't have one. Yeah, I've worked hard all my life for those things. Suddenly I feel guilty. I've done well, but isn't it true that a portion of my success is due to the helping hands of others along the way? My discomfort is increasing, but I'm not entirely sure why. If I give them money, will this feeling go away? I know in my heart I can't give anyone enough money to fix their homelessness, but maybe if I give them something, they'll at least stop looking at me, or maybe we can share a smile together. Is that what I want? Is that what they need? The light's about to change, and I'm not sure what to do. False guilt leads to false solutions. One thing that I've noticed when I'm in a situation like this is how much pressure towards some kind of action is created because of the discomfort that guilt has imposed. It's the need to do something, even if it's the wrong thing, that sets in and grinds my thought in that moment. But that's exactly where my heart begins to challenge me. Should I feel guilty? Have I contributed to this person's homelessness? And will my contribution, if I decide to give them money or food, help them leave homelessness? Concerning true and false guilt, author Mike Bundren writes, "You feel true guilt when you violate your own values. It's appropriate when you've done something wrong to feel remorse. When you correct your mistake, you feel relieved of the guilt. This is an important aspect of true guilt, and it goes away when there's no longer a legitimate reason to feel that way. False guilt operates differently than true guilt. False guilt is a tendency to feel guilty even though you have not violated your values. You feel bad even though you've done nothing wrong. So I began to challenge my feelings of guilt. These homeless people in front of me are in no way there because I have somehow violated my values, which would lead to true guilt if it were the case. I'm feeling bad because of what they have done, not because of anything that I have done. Not only that, but giving them money really does nothing for them that reduces their homelessness, but only promises to make me feel better. In other words, my feelings of guilt are coming from a false position and are extorting me emotionally with a false solution that actually solves nothing that my values can support. Phew, I'm glad I just thought this through. WWJD, where would Jesus donate? Now we are approaching the point where someone throws in the old, I think you should just ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Question/accusation. despite the fact that this question is almost never asked by someone who actually tries to live like Jesus themselves. I generally take this question seriously. If you're someone who really does care, you probably already know that the answer isn't as clear as we would like. And it is certainly not simply give everything to everyone who holds up a cardboard sign. So let's start with a simpler question. What is your desired outcome? Remember that it was false guilt that brought us here promising that if I just give money, I would be released from my sense of guilt. Let's not make the mistake of responding to a guilty feeling that we shouldn't have felt in the first place, because this will only cause us to try to fix a problem that doesn't exist. What is the best thing you can want for a homeless person? Commit to make your next action serve the answer to that question. Jesus always wanted and always gave the absolute best for others. And yet you might say, well, I really don't have the time or resources to do that. Well, Jesus delegated plenty of tasks to others who are more suited to accomplish them, such as fishing or serving food or preaching. He modeled the idea that accomplishing great things may require employing others more suited to the task, and we could take a cue from him. Should I give directly to this person holding the sign? And if so, how much do I give? If not, is there someone I should give to who might be more suited to the task, and delegate the job of helping to them? If I give a homeless person a blanket, a sandwich, or $100, the best thing that could possibly accomplish is that they will still be homeless, but have just a little more. That is the best I can do by myself if I approach the problem single-handedly. The Gospel Rescue Mission and organizations like them are helping people leave homelessness altogether. They have an entire staff that partners with the best agencies in the community, whose job it is to reach this goal with 24/7 wraparound case management. And they can do this because people like you and me, who hurt and feel a sense of urgency when we see other people living far below their potential, share our resources with them to have a greater impact. When we donate to them, we're delegating our desire to help to an organization that actually can and does make a huge impact. In other words, we are giving our best, and this is exactly what Jesus would do. The homeless person on the streets survives on an inappropriate sense of guilt festering within society. And this can only lead to society creating fixes that don't fix anything. When we recognize this as a culture, we can move on to solutions that actually lift others out of suffering rather than simply making them comfortable in it.